Legendary actor Paul Newman once said, "If there truly is a heaven on earth, it must be VIR." For the first time in its half-century history, this truly glorious ribbon of racing real estate hosts the most prestigious event in amateur motorsports, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs. Welcome to a sun-drenched afternoon at America's first, and still, in many's opinion, most prestigious and glorious motorsports resort. It is Virginia International Raceway, today hosting the 56th running of the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Andy Hollis, and we have a good one that's going to be unfolding for you here, one of so many races that will be unfolding over the next few days. This is STL, or Super Touring Lite, and it is a class that has sort of morphed out of a variety of different categories, the old showroom stock days and the like, and it's a class that has produced some tremendous competition over the years.
It sure has, and these are cars, Greg, that enthusiasts love. Little small old Hondas. We've got some Mazdas in there. Engine swaps are happening, and these are the kind of things that guys are doing in their garage anyway for cars that they're going to take to the track. So it really reflects what the enthusiast is really wanting to do when they put their car on track.
And it has produced some great racing, and it is a class that came into existence in 2012. As I said, started its genesis in some other categories as well. And looking forward to this one unfolding. 15 laps of competition to determine our national champion. One race takes all. That's what the SCCA Runoffs is all about. And as we talk about Super Touring Lite, certainly the cars and the stories are big, and there's a number of them. And earlier, Ryan Marine checked in on a few of the key players.
Super Touring Lite uses production-based cars with smaller bore engines. These cars can be front-wheel or rear-wheel drive, depending on the car. Let's meet a few of the class contenders. Up first, Danny Stain. He's the pick to win both in this class and in Spec Miata, and is the cover boy on Sports Car Magazine. He's the Super Tour points leader and the 2018 champ. Cliff Ira driving an Acura Integra. He's the 2014 champion, and his brother Greg is a contender in E-Production. His father Gordon was a production class racer and passed away this year, so this one's for him. Max G driving a Honda Prelude, the 2017 STU champ at Indianapolis. He's an instructor at the Mid-Ohio School. Chris Haldeman, the owner of X Factor Racing, came to the runoffs without a completed car, but was asked to test this car for KRS Ignoble Racing and ultimately asked to race it on last-minute notice. Garrett Dunn, driving a Honda CRX. He was on the podium at Indianapolis and part of the HPD contingent. He's third in Hoosier Super Tour points. And Marcus Vento, driving a Toyota Celica. Fifth in Super Tour points this year. He's making his runoffs debut.
From great experience to wicked quick rookies, this category has it all. And they are staged up and getting ready to go. Some 36 cars strong. Let's get down to the pre-grid and meet the third member of our broadcast team, Hayward Wagner.
Guys, the first story on grid is I am standing in the third qualifier spot. There is not a car here. So right now we're down one car in STL, and it is one of our contenders. But the cars that are here, it's going to be a very interesting battle between these three. First off, the CRX. 2,117 pounds on a 54 millimeter restrictor. Second is Ira in the Integra. He's at 2,300 pounds on the same size restrictor. And then our pole sitter here, Danny Stain, is at 2,793 pounds. So on the grid, they go from the heavyweight to the lightweight. And the lightweight of the three cars, CRX is the only car in this class that is running BFG tires. So as these cars run the race, the tires get hot. We may see the heavier cars fall off. We may see the lighter cars go further ahead. But before we send everybody out there, Danny Stain has one thing he wants to remember on his steering wheel. This is just another race.
I think that's a good approach to not overpsych yourself. And I'll tell you, Denny Stain, every year, every competition he does, he's faster and faster and faster, and has certainly been showing it with a tremendous run this year. I mean, at both here at VIR for that the spring race, yep, and at the June Sprints, another huge event, swept everything in this category. He's on form.
Indeed, and if you read the story in Sports Car Magazine, it describes why. I mean, the guy leaves no stone unturned. Yep. He has a very regimented lifestyle. He's got a very regimented approach to the motorsports, and tests a lot. every single race, lots of data, recording all that stuff, processing it. That's what it's all about for him.
Just getting an update from Hayward. He said third place, Chris Halderman, just made it to the pre-grid.
Aha.
So he is here. There is that car. And Chris is a wicked quick driver. He's doing some pro racing in the old world, what was used to be World Challenge nowadays, and also has been running a different car in a different category and has been very fast this year, sweeping the June sprints himself. So he's going to be a player as his qualifying run.
Yeah, Chris is from my area down there in Central Texas, and oftentimes he supports a lot of cars in his shop there. Oftentimes he'll come out to the racetrack and he'll have over a dozen cars, particularly Spec Miatas, that he's supporting for various racers. Super knowledgeable guy, super likable guy. Helps him with coaching as well. As you mentioned, he's currently moved up into professional road racing with running a bunch of TCA cars for Honda in the World Challenge Series, and doing very well there as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he does today in that Mazda.
I wish you could bottle his energy. That metabolism is just pinging. There's a look at Denny Stain, as he is going to start from pole once again, the defending champion. So he's going out to see if he can do it once again and go back-to-back. And then, of course, Cliff Ira, then Haldeman and Greg Malloy. And that number 38, which was one of the cars that Hayward was talking about. Third row, the 70 of Darren Treacle, and the 28 of Bob Beattie, a driver who's been around for quite some time as well. But Denny Stain, just a quick reminder there, he is your tire rack pole winner. As the field now starting to move out. There's Greg Ira as he heads out. And the rest of the field starting in the 7th spot will be the 22 of Max G in the Hoosier Carbotech Honda Prelude, joined by the number 62 of John Schmidt in the Hoosier Redline Honda Prelude. Then in the 9th spot will be the 39 of Mike Taylor and Just Track It Honda Civic, and then the Honda CRX SI of Garrett Dunn, one of the drivers that we met right at the top of the show in the number 136. 11th spot will be the 68 of Craig McAfee, the Mazda MX-5, joined in the 12th spot, a rookie to the Runoffs, the number 57 of Chuck Hines in the Big Boy Racing Mazda MX-5. In 13th, the 06 of Robert Garrison. Had a chance to talk with him earlier. Came here with the intention of running 3 classes. The way the schedule unfolded, he decided not to run an E-Prod because he runs the same car in F-Prod, but he had a good qualifying run in this category and said, yep, I'm going to go out and do it. We're going to have some fun. Starting 14th will be the 48 of John Sewell and the Hoosier Acura Integra. Then in the 15th spot and 16th spot, 2 rookies, Steve Eckerick and Marcus Vento, who we met at the top of the show. 17th, another rookie, Alan Cross, in the 47, starting 18th, and number 24, Stephen Wheeler. And rounding out the top 20, and 19th, the 00 of Eric Thompson. And the 20, starting spot, number 7, Chris Childs in the Angry Sheep Motorsports Mazda Miata.
All right, we're watching the field there. Look at the diversity there. We've got front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive.
Sorry about that. Yeah, obviously a lot of diversity in this class, not just in terms of the manufacturers on the track, but tires.
Right.
I mean, there's stuff out there that, and this is why all of these, as they call them, contingency sponsors get involved. This is an opportunity to test product and promote product.
That's right. And that was Danny's big magic wand moment last year, where he put on the softer A tires, and at Sonoma Raceway, that worked in order to get him a little bit of a gap with a couple of hero laps, as he called them. And that was enough to break away from the field and then just maintain from there on out. Talked to him yesterday and said, we're working the same strategy. Says it's not going to work out here at VIR. Different kind of racetrack. So not sure what he ended up choosing. He wasn't sure at that time. He said he was going to make a game time decision. But I'm suspecting that he went on the harder compound in order to have good grip throughout the race.
Well, it's an interesting, yeah, you're absolutely right, and it has warmed up significantly from how the day started here. So anybody who had a plan in the morning, that may have morphed a little bit come race time.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we saw a couple of guys in the morning trying that softer tire, and it just didn't work. So if it didn't work in the cool morning, it's not likely to work right about now. Yeah, interesting the way this class is managed. It's mostly a displacement to weight formula. As Hayward was mentioning earlier, there are restrictors put on a couple of the cars. Lap record here is a 2:08.0 by Eric Coutil back in 2018 in the 1992 Honda Civic Si, but that was before they put a restrictor on that car. So the Hondas were deemed, in fact, at this very racetrack, to be a little too fast in the straights, and there wasn't enough balance with the cornering power of some of the other cars, particularly the Mazda Miatas. So they put a restrictor on them, adjusted the weights a little bit, and now we have a little bit better parity here on this great VIR racetrack.
Yeah, Denny just uncorked an absolutely superb lap in the qualifying session and put it on pole by about half a second. But as we've seen in some of these classes, just as it's unfolded over the years, you get one guy that may have a great qualifying run, but then behind him it's a huge pack. And if he comes back to them, it's game on.
Yeah, and drafting, while it's not as big of a factor here as it is in some classes, it's still a factor as well. And so when you're out in front, you're having to make a hole in the air for the guys behind you, and it gives them a chance to pass you on these big long straights. As we've mentioned a number of other times, this track, you can kind of categorize it into 3 segments. Segments 1, segment 3, both handling sections. They feed into each other. But sector 2 is all about the 2 big long straightaways.
Lights are out on the safety car. It's about time for us to go green for STL Super Touring Light here at the Runoffs at Virginia International Raceway. Denny Stain in that orange and blue Mazda leading the field around. Alongside is Cliff Ira in the Acura Integra as we're set for 15 laps of competition to determine the run for the gold at an absolutely glorious track on a stunning afternoon. This one should be superb, and it's going to be interesting to see just who gets into that first turn with a little bit better head of steam. And Ira laying back just a little bit, tried to get a little bit of a jump, but I think Denny timed it to perfection. And Denny right behind him. Chris Haldeman's going to work with that fellow Mazda, and I think try and freeze Ira. Ira trying to ramp the outside, Andy.
Yeah, he's not going to get it done, though. Denny looking really, really good through that first turn. That super well-balanced Mazda Miata there. It also has great brakes under it. So turn 1 there, a good advantage for him into turn 2, and now 3. A couple cars going off, 2 of them, in fact.
One of them was Marcos Vento, who we met right at the top. There he is, having that quick spin in the 16. Young rookie at the Runoffs here, and I think maybe feeling the jitters a little bit.
Yeah, and not being able to deal with the cold tires.
Yep. Boy, look at the that's because Haldeman has gone through on Ira, and that has parked both of them a little bit, and Denny Stain now has made good his escape. And one of the things we want to talk about here is, in terms of the manufacturers and the like, one of the things is you've got different drive line layouts as well, and you got a front drive car. It's a warm afternoon now, warmer than it's been at any point so far this week. That has a big effect on, you're asking those front tires to do everything.
You are, and that's a real, tire management in a front wheel drive car is really key. If you overdrive them early, it never comes back to you later in the race. With the more balanced tires, the more balanced cars, you can typically back off for a lap or 2 and then come back at them. So we'll see how that develops for Ira. As we're seeing a much bigger gap. Stain doing what he did last year, trying to pull a gap on the field and then maintain, let the other guys battle amongst themselves for the scraps. Don't know if that's going to work for the entire race, though.
I just have a gut feeling that Haldeman's not going to let him make that early break. I think he's going to be up to it, and Chris is certainly an awfully talented driver.
He is indeed.
That tire management on front drive, that's something you're well aware of with the runs you had with Tom O'Gorman.
Oh, yeah.
In that front drive car, and it's a chore.
Yeah, we planned most of the setup around getting weight transfer off of the nose as much as we could in order to make the car, make those tires last. And in fact, VRR was one of our troublesome tracks with making tires last for an entire race. So I can imagine these guys it being a challenge here, coming about mid-race on.
Good look there at the number 62 of Mr. Schmidt. As we go back up front, Denny, a little bit of a wiggle going in. He is pushing. He's trying to make that break, and Haldeman's staying right with him. Ira still third. Bob Beatty has worked his way from 6th up into 4th. Malloy has dropped down to the 5th spot. Then Schmidt in the 62 sits in 6th. And there are those 2 up front. Ira's stabilized it a little bit, but Denny Stain, a 209.4.
Haldeman's pulling him.
Yeah, he is.
He's definitely pulling him.
Yep. Yeah, the 2 of them now easing away from Ira, Beatty, and Malloy. And looking at the times, I mean, at the completion of the first lap was clearly a very, very stout lap from Denny. But now I think Haldeman has found an answer. And let's see, last lap times, yeah, they were really quite close here.
Yeah, we're getting word from our spies down in the paddock that Danny did, in fact, start on the A compound tire, so that explains how he's initially got that jump on the field. Apparently there was also contact, though, with Ira. I believe Ira and Haldeman at the time.
Okay, that would make a little bit of sense. But
Yep.
look at Haldeman now.
Oh, yeah, he's charging. He's charging. Now, see here, this is where some of that draft is going to help.
Yep.
He's just going to close up without being anybody there, and there it goes down into turn 13, which for these cars is really just kind of a kink.
Right.
And into the real braking zone, which is for turn 14, the right-hander right there. What I'm watching for here is, as he closes up down through the roller coaster, his pull out of hog pen. Which of these two cars has more motor, more power to weight, more grunt right there? And it looks like Stain, at least initially. And then the draft will start to take place about midway down. I'm guessing looking for Haldeman to start closing the gap here. Both of these cars should brake equally well, though. Very lightweight. So it's the NC generation Miata that Stain is driving. Looks to be an NB that Haldeman is behind the wheel of. So different size motors, balanced by, again, by restrictor plates, weight.
How about tires? Is there you run a different width tire based on the cars?
Not so much. I mean, you have some choices there, but based on what will fit and what temperature range you want. But it's mostly restrictors and weight.
There's a look at the number 36 of Greg Ira. Started outside of the front row, currently third, chasing the two Mazdas in the run for the gold here in STL. Battle for fourth, absolutely superb here at Virginia International Raceway for the SCCA National Championship runoff in STL. Bob Beatty in the number 28, the all-black machine, worked his way around the number 38 of Greg Malloy, the MCB Autosport Honda CRX. But Malloy has not let Beatty get away in that Wheeler Automotive entry.
Interesting story on Malloy. He had a massive wreck in this car last year and spent a long, long time getting the thing back together. Had some medical issues as well, but what got him back into it was his love for autocross, SCCA autocross. He went out to a bunch of autocrosses, got his nerve back, got his car control skills back under control just about the time that he got all the repairs on the car done. So kind of using the complete package of SCCA Motorsports offerings in order to get back up here to the front here in STL at the Runoffs.
Well, that's one of the real tools for autocross if you're going to be a road racer, is it compresses everything. Everything that you experience in a long lap of a track, you experience in a big hurry, but it's all the same dynamics. You just have to react even quicker.
That's right. You don't have to,
magic.
and you don't have quite the risk-reward issue that you have to deal with.
Exactly.
So you can drive closer to the limit of adhesion of the car. Haldeman and Stain now looking to be maintaining that gap, and I don't know if that's because they're doing it on purpose, but Haldeman no longer looking like he's on the attack here. He's more in a bit of a maintenance mode, so perhaps kind of maintaining the tires.
In that last lap, Ira set a lap that was 3/10 quicker than either of them and has trimmed that margin back down to under 2 seconds up to the leader, Stain.
Yeah, now Ira, of course, was running the harder compound tire on the front of that front-wheel drive car out of necessity, but that tire is now fully well into its heat range and operating at optimal grip levels.
Battle here back in 17th, and number 29 of Fitzgerald just slicing out a frame there, being chased by the 123 of Keene, the 89 of Nagley. And he's got some pressure in the 47 of Cross. And in that car, the number 47, they've been struggling just a little bit. Alan Cross in that OPM improved Racine Mazda had to do a couple of hardship laps, but they got it dialed up, and the car finally started to run the way they knew it was capable of. And he's got himself a pretty good position right now, trying to work his way up from a qualifying spot. I think he may have been a little bit better placed had the car been healthy throughout.
Yeah, no doubt. You like your week to be nice and clean, but so often here at the Runoffs, dealing with adversity is part of the package, part of the experience. But oftentimes where the community kind of gets together and supports you and gets you back onto the track and up to speed.
Well, that's one of the things you hear people that, well, you've been here for 4 days. How can you say you haven't had enough track time? Well, it's because there's 600 entries, there's 29 classes. You're out once a day, and it isn't for a 45-minute session. It's a quick 20. So you better be on your game in a hurry.
Right, and you want to take advantage of all 20 if you're looking for some practice time on it, not just trying to turn qualifying laps. which a number of these drivers, that's what they're doing. They may not be as familiar with this track. Some of these folks have made long, long tows to get out here. Don't get out here very often, and so they're going to take advantage of all of that.
Get the scrap here, the number 39. Oh, and he's under attack. Oh, and a big bit of lockup down to the inside. These guys are scrapping it out.
Yeah, that's Mike Taylor, car 39. That's the car they call Squirrel 2.0. It's a little inside joke, as Mike is one of these guys that gets easily distracted, and so they call the car the Squirrel. And he had some misfortunes with it earlier in the year. Had some motor troubles first, and then got unceremoniously punted off the track at another race. And even this week, he's had some drama. They had some trouble with oil pressure early on. The car was kicking out of VTEC, so it was losing quite a bit of that Honda power. But they installed some additional parts, oil accumulator, and were able to get that sussed. And he is back up to speed, moving forward in this pack.
Yeah, I mean, he's worked his way around Max G, who qualified a couple of spots in front. Driver that we met earlier, and that's Max trying to get back around. Max in the number 22. And since you threw the phrase out, you might as well explain it. VTEC.
Oh yeah, VTEC. That is the Honda innovation from many years ago, where they basically get the effect of dual camshafts, so they can have a racing style camshaft built into a car, yet still be able to idle and drive around town. It was innovated by Honda. Later on, other manufacturers copied that idea and or improved on it. Honda has actually improved on it themselves in a number of their lines. Most of those cars out there are running the B series Honda engine, which was the original of the VTEC motors.
Just was about to throw a move in there as we go back, but I want to quickly just let everybody know we have a new track record holder. Greg Ira has just uncorked a 2:07.273, the old record, that 2:08 flat by Eric Coutil, so he's 8/10 under the old record. That's a superb lap as we're watching this battle now for 12th for 48 of Sewell, over the 00 of Thompson, and then Eckrich. And back up front, you can see Ira is reeling these guys in. That margin now from first to third is 7/10 of a second.
He is, and that gap again created from some contact early on. We believe it was Haldeman. So he is going to be driving a little angry, most likely.
Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry.
Look at that. He is almost up to the bumper of Haldeman.
Yep. And that's just going to push Haldeman, I think, a little bit quicker, and he's going to have to up his game. All three now of them running in the 207s on that last lap. High 207s, mind you, not the 207.2 that I returned for the record, but they have dipped it. It's game on.
Yeah, it sure is. And if you look at the timing scoring stuff there, the trap speeds tell the story there. The Honda Ira with the highest trap speed there at 134 miles an hour. The other drivers, they're more in the 129 kind of range. So his car with that good top speed going to make it through the second sector, including the two straightaways, the fastest. Going to give something up a little bit down through Roller Coaster and Hog Pen, as well as through the early S's there through the Snake area.
And you can see particularly those front drive cars up through turn 11 and into 12. They run that wide line. They don't worry about getting to the apex, because if they did, then it would be way too tight to get the run through 12. They'll trade a little bit of track distance for better rolling speed, and Ira putting it to good use right now as he has reeled in the leaders, and the battle for the top three is on here in STL.
Janice.
What's up, Doug? Hi, Cheryl. What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was brought to you by Haggerty, for people who love cars.
New second place here in the run for the gold of STL, all at VIR, but then a big moment as Greg Ira moves to second, then loses it in the roller coaster, gathers it up, and just that fast, Haldeman slices through and takes that second spot back. And that, of course, is just going to give Denny Stain a little bit more breathing room.
That's what happens. You start battling for position behind, and the guy in front of you just drives away. So Chris Haldeman now with that gap back to Ira has to set his sights farther forward. But Ira turning quicker lap time, so he's going to catch him eventually.
Yeah.
Still got quite a long ways to go here at 6 laps.
Yeah, the concern, of course, is that Ira in that push to get up there after dropping back, pushing those fronts. Now all of that work is gone, and he's got to do it again. I mean, the guy's a master of dealing with that, but still, you overabuse the tires. You overabuse the tires.
You do, and you can watch this here as we watch the tail of the Honda go through that corner. It lifts up that inside rear wheel. It's cornering on 3 wheels, which is normal actually for those cars. That's the way you set them up. But that lets you know that you're only get half as much load on each of those rear tires at any given time on average.
Good little run going here. Again, no matter where there's racing on the track, eventually you find somebody that's running in your speed range, and you just glom on and you end up having a great battle. And this is the number 71 of Gail Corley running the 26, and Lieutenant Greg Abel running right behind him. Both of them just trying to figure out a way to get right now up into that top 10, but just a superb run. Corley running the Mazda Miata, as is Abel. And that's one of the nice things is you'll see on the side of the cars, you'll see a SM/STL. You can take your SM car and run it in the STL category. There's no issue with that. You can't go the other way.
That's right.
So if it's a prep STL car, you can't run it, but you can move up, get extra track time. But this battle hasn't changed a bit, has it? These guys
No,
are
it
at
has not. Tooth and nail. Tooth and nail.
Alan Cross.
It's the section of the track there up through
Just
4A,
something happened
4B,
there.
and this is the lower parts of the S is called the snake. Pretty much from the exit of 4B, you are flat to the floor, up the straightaway under the bridge, up into the upper S's, and again, you're flat. At this point, you've accumulated quite a bit of speed. You're up in the 120-mile-an-hour range. You have to hit your apexes perfectly as you crest a hill on every single one of them down into this area here. This is turn 10 called South Bend. And that's a real risk-reward maneuver. If you go too far on that exit curb, you're going to go off for a really long ride in the grass and sand.
You see that, yeah, at the exit it drops down, and when you get to the bottom, there is a huge bump. And you just plus the compression of hitting the bottom of that hill, and it can mess things up considerably if you get there.
Yeah, your day will end really fast.
Absolutely. And you see the 47 of Cross there, that white, red, and black entry had been right again up on the rear deck of the 89 in Nagley, and suddenly he's got some sort of an issue because it's like the car just suddenly is laying down a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
He was right there, and then suddenly he just had no juice going forward. Then it picks up and goes, so he's struggling maybe with some sort of misfire.
Yeah, Cross there in again something very different. That's a rotary-powered Mazda RX-8, battling an old school. What they call the EF generation Honda Civic Si hatchback.
It's Ken Howard. He has come from way deep in the bed. What a great drive. Started 23rd.
Owned a couple of those. you always had to have a couple of them around so you had enough parts to keep one of them running.
Well, and that's a staple in IT racing.
Oh, sure.
At the regional level, it's a real favorite.
Yeah, and with the ability to swap motors in and out the way this class works, and Hondas are known for sort of the plug-and-play modularity. You can put pretty much any motor they make in pretty much any chassis they make, and the plugs even plug in oftentimes. It's very easy to do. So, blow up a motor, you go to the pick and pull, and find another one. That's the pick and pull.
Absolutely. So, once again, 17 Howat just set his personal best lap as well under 2:15.584. So, nice run for him. You know, up front, Haldeman.
Ira closing the gap.
Haldeman just right now does not have an answer for Stain. Stain
No, he
just
doesn't.
Uncorked a couple of low 20 or mid 207s and now a low 208.
And those two are battling. Here we go.
Look at this.
Trying that outside line again. Not going to work, but certainly probing.
Yes.
Probing for the advantage. And there you go. Watch that car come off that turn. That's what that Honda does really, really well. The strength of the Miata was in the braking zone, and can he carry it around the outside here? Shorter line by the Miata of Haldeman, and he makes it stick. But that power is going to come back on. Let's watch who gets the big squirt here out of 4B up into the snake area.
Well, the real key when you got a car that's front drive with some power is you want those front wheels fairly unwound.
You want to unwind that wheel, get back to the power as soon as you can.
So you'll see him diamond corners a lot, and that's exactly what he did. It almost worked.
Yep, he's getting there.
Yep. That last lap, he ran a 209.2 to Haldeman's 209.5.
You do notice, though, when he goes up there through the upper S's, as he crests the hill there, it looks like he's almost getting some wheel spin there because the front end gets really light and he's trying to steer with it at the same time. So that gap got extended out by Haldeman. Using all that extended runoff room that was done there, added during the repave back in 2014. And now, of course, they did that to cover up the dirt that was on the outside of the Gators, and now there's more dirt on the outside of the pavement. So I guess next year they'll be repaving it farther. We'll see.
Well, Mario Andretti said it once, you don't want me to race on it, don't pave it.
Exactly. If it's paved, it's a racetrack.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Ooh, this could be a real problem for Haldeman as he just caught the number 171 of Whitfield Gregg, or is about to catch him. And that's a tough place, plus more traffic. Now he's going to be able to sneak through, and now this might end up being a problem for Ira.
Yeah, this is oftentimes make or break stuff as you catch the back of the field for the leaders. How you catch them, how you work traffic, that's a whole nother skill set that some guys have super good experience with and some guys don't.
Well, you need to be, I mean, right there, Ira, he actually lifted a little bit down through 17, so he didn't run right up in the back of him and have to stop, and was able to carry the momentum. And look, he didn't lose much to Haldeman at all.
Yeah, you want to do that where you're on power onto that straightaway, not getting blocked up in the turn.
So Stain, Haldeman, and Ira, but that battle for the final two medals absolutely unsettled here at VIR. Aggressive racing, working through traffic, and Ira getting bottled up just a little bit in this great battle for second, and Haldeman suddenly finds himself with a little bit of a margin. Haldeman just barged his way through on traffic cleanly, but very aggressively, and Ira had to work the outside line, and he got it crossed up just a little bit. Just that little bit of a slip, that's a huge margin again.
It sure is, and Stain, of course, walking away even farther as guys having to deal with that traffic. He at least didn't have to worry about battling anybody as he negotiated the traffic and got through there a little bit cleaner. Pretty much the same sort of deal he did last year. He got that gap and let the other guys bang into each other behind him.
There you can see the margin, Haldeman, the black car, and then behind him the white car with the green spoiler of Ira. That's how much that has ballooned up a little bit. And interesting for Haldeman, the car he drives in the other class he'll be racing is a front drive car.
Right.
So he understands what Ira is dealing with here. And knowing Chris Haldeman, he's probably doing everything he can to make Ira push those fronts more than he wants to.
Yeah, he'll do things that he needs to do to compromise Ira's strengths. But at the same time, he's looking forward. I mean, Stain's out there pretty far, but you just never know. Again, Stain likes to go out there on those softer tires, and if they start falling off towards the end of the race, and we do have 5 laps to go. Is that correct?
Yep.
No, 4 now. Okay.
And Bob Beatty right there in the number 28 has got himself in a relatively lonely 4th spot, but behind him, the 38 of Malloy and the 62 of Schmidt are duking it out for the top 5. Beatty's got 4th pretty covered in that Wheeler Automotive entry right now.
Yeah, he'd love to get back up there on the podium. His best finish was back in 2001, where he podiumed at Mid-Ohio in Showroom Stock C, one of the predecessors to this class. Driving that Honda Civic Si right now in good form.
Nice job there. Some of the traffic recognizing that it's not quite our day in terms of speed, opening the door, letting the drivers get through. Again, ably assisted, I'm sure, by the corner workers around the track with those blue flags with the stripe on it is Stain. Right now, he's got it pretty well covered. Can't even see Haldeman in the shot. The margin 7.5 seconds from Stain back to Haldeman.
Yeah, and even if he was at this point having to back off a second a lap due to tires, it would not matter. And that was his plan last year. It's his plan this year. He wouldn't totally. Oh, and he goes off.
Oh,
just as I say it, he goes off there in Oak Tree Turn. Just a momentary lapse. Let's watch how that gap closes up. Haldeman cannot believe his luck.
No.
As he sees him now, Stain starting from a dead stop.
And dirty tires.
He's likely going to get caught here.
Yep.
And the next time he turns the wheel and has to use the brakes, because as you brake, the camber on those tires changes as all that weight shifts forward. So at least for a moment, part of those tires, the outer center, is actually going to be dirty when he tries to use it for braking. Of course, we've got traffic now,
I was just going to say, he moved over to try and let that car know I'm coming through, and that car didn't catch it. And now he's going to be following. He's got to try and goose it through here in a big hurry. Haldeman's going to go through. Hopefully that car sees both of them. They do. The complexion of this race, one corner.
That's all it takes.
Changes things completely.
That's all it takes, and that's why you run the races, and it's why you keep pushing and pushing and pushing the whole time, because you just never know what the other guy's going to do or not do.
And just to give you an idea of what kind of a season, well, let's go back first and take another look at that. Let's make sure Haldeman slices through. Look, everything looks good here.
Yep, under braking, looking good. Yep, and you can see he opened the wheel up just at the very end there as he realized he was losing grip.
Yep. Gathers it up. And now Haldeman right there. And right before that happened, I was about to say, Denny Stain's year in the Hoosier Super Tour, 12 starts, 9 wins. In the Majors Tour, 14 starts and 9 wins with 13 podiums. He said just that kind of a season.
And guess who else?
Denny Stain leads. After that moment, that margin has gone, but look who's joining the paddle in third. You had talked about it, Andy. You said don't count out Greg Ira. He's going to be able to come back yet again. He's got speed in that car. Boy, does he.
He sure does, and look at his coming closer and closer to Haldeman. Interesting, it looks like Stain finally starting to pull that gap again after that slight miscue there in Oak Tree Turn. Car seems to be fine.
Yep.
Not sure where his head's at.
Yeah, well, for sure. And this is exactly what Haldeman didn't want to have happen.
So now Greg having to look in his mirrors, not looking forward. You have to take that defensive line, which is oftentimes not the fast line, even as he's trying to negotiate traffic. Very sportsmanlike move there by the back of the field. Let the leaders come through uncontested.
When we come through, it'll be 2 laps to go, and that margin last lap was 0.8 of a second. It's going to be a bit bigger than that now, I think.
And here comes Ira down into the braking zone. He's tried this move before on the outside. Can he get in front enough to take the apex in the turn? Almost. Nope, not quite there yet. Not his turn. Got to clear that guy before you can dive across him, but once you clear, you can, and he is now clear.
He's through.
And he's going to set himself up right in the middle of the turn to where Haldeman has nowhere to go to get around him. And hopefully he gets that good launch here out of, he's in 4A now, heading up to 4B. 4B will be the determining factor on how long it sticks.
And that margin at the line had ballooned to 2 seconds, but we've seen the speed from Ira now. He's just got to find it. See if in a couple of laps, he's going to have to lap about a second quicker than Stain per lap just to get there.
He's pulling away from Haldeman now. Or was.
Well, you know that Haldeman's not going to go quietly.
No.
It's interesting, you watch Ira through turn 10, he gives himself about a 4-foot cushion, doesn't even off that curb.
He does.
On the exit. He wants nothing to do with that.
And it's great watching these two cars because what you're seeing up through those upper S's is the strengths and weaknesses of the different cars. It's where the gear shifts are. It's what the weight does, the front wheel drive versus the rear wheel drive, and the kind of ebb and flow, the gap through there. It's really, really fun to watch.
Haldeman trying to stay close enough to give Andy kind of a little toe that he can, but just not there. And Ira's made up a little ground to Stain, but I just don't know if he's got enough time.
Yeah. Well, and Danny's a smart guy. And he's going to be knowing how far that gap is to the back. He's got his crew, I'm sure, telling him timing and scoring information. He's going to maintain, because you know he's not going to make another mistake like he did earlier.
Denny is he's a bundle of energy. If he hangs on and wins, it's going to be interesting to hear that interview about that moment up in 11. All right, here we go. 1 to go, and the white flag comes out as they come by. Denny's just got to be totally focused. Hit your marks. Here comes Ira through. And the margin, about the same, just a tick under 2 seconds, I think. Yep, right at 2. So Denny doing what he needed to do. The three of them have about 5 seconds back to Beatty in the 4th spot, and then Malloy's managed to open up a few seconds now on Schmidt to solidify his hold on 5th in the number 38. But all eyes on Denny Stain. Going to try and repeat. At Indy 2 years ago had a great qualifying run, then contact in the opening lap, cut a tire, he was done. Gutted him, he came back and won it last year and going for the repeat here.
And when you have those kinds of things happen to you, it starts making you really pay attention to details and leave no stone unturned, and that was really a turning point for him in the way he prepared for the events, as far as the car goes, as far as his mental aspects go. Dividends are certainly paying off for him.
Chris Haldeman. He's looking at it, and at this stage, he knows he's going to lose ground to Ira here. Right. And for Ira, it's like, I don't think I've got enough here to be able to close it up.
Well, the only thing that Haldeman can hope for is that Ira has a miscue of some sort going down through the braking zone. But
coming up on Hawat, a little bit of traffic here. He's got a margin. This is where you need to be ultra patient and have a driver who has great track awareness and understands the big picture and lets you slice through like that. That was classy.
Yeah, it really was. Because that's normally not a passing zone.
Yeah.
Unless somebody lets you go by, which he did.
All right, here we go. Down through Hogpen. Final turn onto the front straight. And speaking of Indy, how about for Denny Stain, a spin and win?
That's exactly right. There you go.
Not too bad. Defending his championship, Denny Stain does it again at Virginia International Raceway, winning in STL. Greg Ira, great run. Up into 2nd place, and remember, had his dad on his mind, Gordon, an F-Prod racer, a production racer who passed away this year, and brings him a silver medal. And Chris Haldeman, after almost missing the pre-grid, makes it just before the roll-off and ends up with a medal in a car he wasn't even supposed to race this weekend. There's other good action going on. There's the 06 at Garrison we were talking about earlier. And here's the 16 Avento. Got him at the top of the show, trying to work his way back up after that early spin, and has fought his way up into 14th. Now I think that was a pass for 12th. I think he just ducked around the 48 of Sewell, so a good comeback drive for the young rookie. Well, and then Sewell pulls out and able to motor him a little bit.
How about Ira with that track record as well, 207.2 in there.
That's what you call smoking fast.
Smoking fast. Honda taking out another Honda.
Yeah, Beatty Malloy end up 4th and 5th. And watching this here, what an interesting little battle here. Convento sneak back around Sewell. He's got the run here. And once it gets straightened out, we know that Sewell has the straight line speed advantage. And he should hang on and bring it home.
Acura Integra Toyota Celica.
Yep. It's an
Battling it out.
actually an old Toyota Celebrity Series car as well, which is really cool. So there is your defending champion. Danny Stain has done it again. Haldeman behind him, but Ira splitting him in terms of the medals. And we'll visit with them when we come back to VIR.
Now he's gotten excited.
Yes, yes. You gotta wonder. I can't wait to hear, like I said, what he says about that moment. And
I mean, there was nothing obvious on the outside of the car, you know, that didn't look like a missed shift, you know, missed downshift or something.
I think he just carried a wee bit too much speed.
Maybe so. Yeah, I mean, it's an ABS car, so you're not going to see a wheel lock up on it.
Well, we'll find out pretty soon. For the second year in a row, Denny Stain brings his beautiful Mazda down into the medal staging area as a national champion in the STL category. This one coming with a bit more drama than did the one last year at Sonoma, no question about that. Belts coming off, helmet coming off. Like we said, oftentimes toughest part of a race is getting that helmet off when you get into victory circle.
It sure is, particularly when you're excited and you're not doing things in the right order. Although Danny's been here before, so it's not a new thing.
Not at all. But, yeah, got to get the glasses off, pull the helmet off. And with that, let's get it down to Hayward Wagner. There's the gold.
Gold medal going around the neck of Danny Stain here in the pit lane. Danny, 2 years in a row, STL, you led every lap, flag-to-flag victory. But this year there was just a tiny bit more drama. Tell us about the incident up by Oak Tree.
Well, it started long before that. I knew this was going to be a race of strategy, and it was going to be about tires and tire management. And Cliff would go for the R's, and I was going to try the A's. But with this hot sun, I knew that if I went for the 2 hero laps, I would have nothing left. So I actually ran pretty easy, just to try and stay ahead. But Haldeman got around, and so Haldeman was dragging. Each of them were dragging close enough to me. But I think something happened going through Hogpen. I think Haldeman slipped, and that gave me the gap. And then it was about managing the gap. But when you're managing the gap, there's too many thoughts going through your head. And I lost it. I lost it where I lost it on test day. I backed it into Oak Tree. Fortunate didn't hit the wall again. Very fortunate. Got it started immediately and was able not to lose the lead. So this was way too close. Thank you to all of the people that make this possible. To Tom Fowler at OPM, to Sam Nelson, Jim Locke over here, Tristan, all the boys, all the crew. They have worked tirelessly on this car. And thanks to Mazda, to Hoosier, to everybody that makes it happen. Sam, I hope you're proud of us, buddy, and to everybody at Ocean watching. We did it again. Thank you.
Congratulations, Danny. Enjoy this next lap.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And going on top of it for the Guinness Book World Record for people you can stuff into a Mazda Miata.
There you go.
Love it.
And you heard him.
Yep, you did. Denny Stain, Cliff Ira, Chris Haldeman. That's your podium. We'll hear from Ira and Haldeman in just a bit. Bob Beaton, Greg Malloy, rounding up the top 5. Mac G having a solid run there. Mikey Taylor, Chuck Hines, Robert Garrison, busy man this weekend. Great to have him up in the top 10, and the top 10 rounded out by Eric Thompson.
Interesting to hear him talking about you start trying to maintain a gap, you don't drive the same way.
Yep. Things get into your head just a little bit, and Hayward's about to get into our rest of our podium's head here.
Cliff, the statement you just made is it's emotional. What does this feel like for you?
Well, you're going to make me cry.
I don't have to. We can talk about the race.
That's their typical. The level of intensity is so hard to describe. I think it's why we all do this. You're at such a heightened level of intensity, and it's emotional, and it's unbelievable. You go 10 tenths as hard as you can, and it's so fun and so rewarding. But this week for us is about my dad, and he passed away this year. He was on the podium in 1970 in a G production car in Road Atlanta. My brother and I both are here racing in his honor, and this is a dream come true to get on the podium at the runoff. Second place is always tough, but it was a great race. I made some mistakes, and I had to bear down and come back and reel Halterman back in, and that was really my focus, was calm down, stay stay in my own head and drive hard. So that's it, man.
Well, congratulations on the silver. Congratulations for putting the Ira name back on the podium here at the Runoffs. I know it means a lot to you and your brother.
Thanks, Hayward. Really appreciate it.
Chris Haldeman, you had quite an adventure out there. A little bit of contact, some sliding around. Second, third, back, fourth. Is that a blast?
Oh my gosh. You know, you can't beat the racing at the SCCA runoffs. You just can't. You can't beat the competition. You know, there's awesome drivers and awesome cars in this class. You know, Cliff Ira is a friend of mine. I had a little bit of contact with him on the first lap. I felt really bad about it. When he got a shot at me, I left, you know, I made it easy and thought we'd race back, you know, kind of a manly reset. You know, this is a really good story for me. I'm not driving my car. My car didn't make it. Another competitor, David Palfrenier, had an unfortunate situation where he could not make it. So I got to really say thanks to the Kaplan Racing Systems, Ignoble Motorsports, and all the guys at Metric Iron. They've been working. It is one fantastic car.
Well, congratulations to you on a great third place finish here at the Runoffs.
You got it, man. Thanks, Hayward.
Yep, great drive, and I like that, a manly reset. You know, I roughed him up, didn't mean to, let him back.
That's it.
And that's, yeah, exactly.
Sportsmanship.
I mean, truly, and that's what this is about. You know, you're running with the people that at the end of the day, you'll race them absolutely hammer and tong, but at the end of the day, you're going to sit around and barbecue and have fun. So if something does go wrong, and it happens.
Oh, yeah.
You fix it as best you can and deal with it. And we had a couple of little moments in the race, and that was an opportunity as Ira had worked so hard and fought his way all the way up, got back into second spot, had that little bobble, and everybody went back through on him. And for Denny Stain, heart in the throat moment.
Look at that, man. And as he said, he had done that earlier in the week during testing. So a complete repeat.
11 is a tricky corner, and 12 is so important. You have to push it at every inch. But he responded beautifully, came back, and for the second year in a row, claimed an STL National Championship. Congratulations, Denny, and to all of our podium finishers.
I probably need new tires.
You do.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires.
We have so many tires.
And help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea. Sorry.
TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Find inspiration in every mile. The Mazda CX-5 with turbo. Feel alive.